humans post on the internet every day, and we've already tapped that out, right? Kind of more or less on the tech.
And what are domains that work?
So these are domains where, hey, in Google, when they push data to, any of their services, they have tons of unit tests. These unit tests make sure everything's working. Well, why can't I have the LLM just generate a ton of outputs and then use those unit tests to grade those outputs, right? Because it's pass or fail, right? It's not. And then you can also grade these outputs in other ways, like, oh, it takes this long to run versus this long to run. So then you have there's other areas such as hey, image generation. Well, actually it's harder to say which image looks more beautiful to you versus me. I might like, some sunsets and flowers, and you might like the beach, right? You can't really argue what is good there. So there's no functional verification. There is only subjective, right? So the objective nature of this is where do we have objective grading? We have that in code. We have that in math. We have that in engineering. And while these can be complex, hey, engineering is not just this is the best solution. It's, hey, given all the resources we've had and given all these trade-offs, we think this is the best trade-off, right? That's usually what engineering ends up being. Well, I can still look at all these axes. Whereas in subjective things, right? Hey, what's the best way to write this email, or what's the best way to negotiate with this person? That's difficult, right? That's not something that is objective.
What are you hearing from the hyperscalers? I mean, they're all out there saying our CapEx is going up next year. We're building larger clusters. Is that in fact happening? What's happening out there?
Yeah, so I think when you look at the street's estimates for CapEx, they're all far too low, based on a few factors, right? So when we track every data center in the world, and it's insane how much, especially Microsoft and now Meta and Amazon and many others, right? But those guys specifically are spending on data center capacity